Hey, this is Shanae. I'm coming today to share a very short video with you to help you with some planning. Those of you who struggle with planning and who are trying to get better and who have goals that you are trying to achieve, but you don't necessarily have the tools in order to achieve those goals, I have just something real simple to help you kind of get a game plan going so you can actually have some success. So, something I want to just share, and I shared this on Instagram just a few days ago, but I thought it was really, really impactful, and I want to share it with you guys. And it's just a little simple, just quote, but it means a lot. So the quote says this: "The trouble with not having a goal is you can spend your life running up and down the field, never scoring." I'll read that again. The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field, never scoring. So basically, meaning if you don't have a focus, if you don't have an action plan, if you don't have some form of target for yourself, you're just running around with no goals, with no aim, with no focus, and you're really not able to really achieve anything. So, and when I say goals, some people think, well, I don't have any huge. Everyone should have a goal. Everyone should have some type of a plan for their life in some aspect. You may have a plan to make sure that you can take care of your bills. You may have a plan to, with taking care of your bills, you want to have, you may want to have the ability to maybe go on a vacation at some point, to go to a special place. How can you ever get to a goal of going to some special place like Hawaii, or taking that cruise that you've always wanted to go to, or going back to school like you say that you want to because you want to become this or that? How can you truly achieve those dreams that you have, really, because they're dreams, because you haven't actually, it hasn't come into fruition for you? How can you achieve those goals? How can you achieve those things you keep saying that you want to achieve if you never sit down and actually make some type of structured plan to actually make that goal happen? So a lot of the times we talk ourselves out of it, and I think a lot of people do that. You kind of say, oh, I'm too old, or too much time has passed by, or, oh, it's going to involve too much. I don't have the money for that, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. I don't have the support system. I don't have so many things we can say, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. But do we say that really based on facts? Or are we just saying it because we're too lazy to figure out exactly the reason, the reasons for how to get to whatever the target is that we're saying we want to achieve? So I think if we think about, if you make your mind up first that you want to actually, hey, I actually want to do something and I want to make a change and I want to see some different things in my life. I want to achieve goals. I want to finally go back to school. I want to finally go on that vacation I keep talking about I want to do. I want to finally purchase that camera that I've been wanting. I want to finally be able to purchase whatever it may be. I want to finally be able to get control over my temper, or I want to finally be able to, whatever the goal may be, because the goal is very different for everyone. But if you keep putting things off on the back burner and say, oh, I'll just do that next time, or I'll do that, it'll never get taken care of. So this video is for you. This is for you to get structured and to have more direction with making those things happen. So just a couple things, you may want to get a pen and paper to jot them down, but it's really to help you regain focus and to give you some direction. So let's start things off with this. First of all, you have to realize, what are we goaling for? What is your focus? What is it that you want to achieve? You have to sit down, get a piece of paper out, pen, paper, pencil, whatever. Sit down with that and actually write down what your goal is. So write that out. And what we need to do when we're writing out the goal is you need to be very clear with what the goal is. You can't just say, okay, I want to go back to school. Okay, that's a very great goal, but what some of you may have picked up already is, I want to go back to school. Okay, so you go to school for anything. So many things you can go to school for. So what is it that you want to go to school for specifically? So you want to narrow it down what you actually are going to go to school for, or whatever the focus is that you're going that you're trying to achieve. So I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii. Okay, great. That's a focused goal. That's something specific that I want to achieve, and that's not very broad, where it actually can get very you don't want to have a broad goal where it's so many different elements involved in it, which you can have that. But then if you do get a goal that has many more elements to it, you're going to have to actually break that down even further. So what you want to do is to really, really be focused on one specific element. So, hey, we'll stick with the same example. I want to go back to school. Okay, so what do you want to go back to school for? Specifically, I want to go back to school to become a phlebotomist. Okay, I want to draw blood. I want to work at like one of those places where you get draw blood from, because that's a specific target goal. I want to go back to school and I want to become a barber. I want to go back to school because I want to become a cosmetologist. I want to go back to school because I want to become an esthetician, because I want to start doing facials. I want to go back to school because I want to become a massage therapist. So that's very, very specific. So you want to be very specific with your goal. I want to lose 10 pounds. So that's specific as to wanting to do that. Very, very specific. All right. So once we've established what our goal is specifically, and we know exactly what it is, we need to take that goal and we need to do one of the, outside of figuring out clearly what the goal is, we need to figure out what we need to do in order to achieve that goal. So this involves research. So this is where people get lazy and people just say, I'm not going to do it because it takes too much time. So people don't achieve goals. People don't achieve whatever it may be, small or big. People don't achieve accomplishments by just being lazy and having things fall in your lap. It doesn't happen that way. You have to put in time and you have to put in the energy for it. So that means when you are tired and when you really don't feel like it, you have to push yourself through and put in the time to actually do the research and to find out, what does it take to actually get to that goal? What does it take for me to actually go back to school? I'm going to have to find out what schools are in my area that even offer that program to become a barber. I need to figure out what schools in my area offer the program to be a phlebotomist. I need to find out what schools in my area offer that paralegal program that I'm thinking about doing. I want to find out what schools in my area offer that program to be a kindergarten teacher that I keep thinking about. All those different things. So this is when you start researching and then utilize the internet. There's so much information on the internet. There's so much information. And for those of you who's not even like that versed in doing that, you can literally go to Google, go to the search bar, type in barber schools near me. Or how do I become a barber? How do I become a phlebotomist? Super, super simple. What schools are near me? So using who, what, when, where, those type of question formats as you're doing your search, and you'll get so much different information coming up. Also, something else that you can always tap into, which would be just a live person, someone that you may know. You may know someone who's accomplished the goal of losing 10 pounds. You may know someone who's accomplished the goal of who has gone on these different trips, and you always see somebody taking all these trips and doing all these different things. What are they doing to actually be able to have that luxury to do those things? Do they have some type of method of how they save their money or do different things? You can tap into those people and ask, say, hey, I noticed, you're looking really good. You're notice you've been losing a lot of weight. What is it that you're doing? You mind, you mind sharing some of the things that you've incorporated with, your lifestyle, to change your lifestyle to lose all this weight? Like, what are some of the things that you've learned? And actually write those things down. Do you mind? And it's all about, how you approach people, how you ask people information. Lots of people will be willing to share with you their knowledge or their experience on what they've done to clean up their credit, or what they've done to do any of those things that you're trying to do. So the research is the bulk of really getting into how you're going to set up your plan. So next thing is we want to write out what you need. What do you need in order to achieve those goals? Based upon your research and all the stuff you found out about your goals and all the things, what do I need? Okay, so I need to make sure I'm drinking this amount of water. I need to make sure that I have, okay, so I need to have my running shoes, or I need to make sure I have a laptop. Or I don't have, I need to have a laptop or have access to a computer because, studying for school. I need to make sure I have this amount of money because I need to pay for the books. Or this is how much the tuition is. Or this is how far away the school is from this. I got to pick up the kids from daycare, so I got to make sure this and this and this is taken care of because classes from this hour to this hour. And you see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you're seeing all these details, all these different elements that have to be thought about. And you have to sit down and actually work those out so you can see what elements work, what programs work for you. There's so many different ones, and then you'll find out what is the good match for you, what you're trying to achieve, and what's actually truly attainable for yourself. And this is where you get down to making sure that it works for you, that it actually works, like that it works for you and that you can be successful. Because you don't want to put unrealistic goals on yourself and put too much on yourself. So you need to definitely make sure you have things mapped out and give yourself a deadline. I want to give myself a deadline to lose 5 pounds. I want to give myself, okay, so I have this program that I'm in for school, and each semester I'm going to make sure, so at the close of each semester I'll have a set amount of classes. Okay, so there's 6 classes I'm taking. I have the ultimate breakdown of all the classes. I have 20 classes I have to take each semester. I'm marking off each class as I go through so I can see and I can track, because at the end of that, we'll say that the program is a 2-year program. 2-year program, graduating 2022. I'll finish all these 24 classes or 20 classes or whatever it is. I'll be marking them off. I'll have a deadline of 2022 as being the end deadline, but I'm marking them off as I go so I can see and track myself and see my progress and see where I need to go and see what the next class is I need to be signing up for and see the different targets I need to have going on. So that's important. So that's setting that time frame. That's making sure that you can gauge and hold yourself accountable as you go through, and also pat yourself on the back as you achieve different elements of your plan to make it happen for yourself. I think the most important thing that you can do when you're planning and when you're trying to achieve goals is being easy on yourself, because sometimes you make a plan and you say, I'm going to achieve this, and then it doesn't fall through the way you think it's going to fall through because the elements change. Things change. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, and sometimes you have to revise things, but you have to be easy on yourself as you're going through that process, and you have to be willing to make adjustments. How bad do you want the goal? How bad do you really want to make that change? How bad do you want to get to that target? Making changes, especially life changes, making big changes in your life is not an easy progress, and a lot of times it doesn't feel good. Because you're not comfortable in that different element of operation, because it's something that's very foreign to you. So you have to keep pushing yourself. You have to be flexible, and then just be easy on yourself during the process and make it reasonable for yourself. So that's it. That's honestly it. That's really it. You have to be easy on yourself. You have to be clear about what you want to do, and you have to do your research and be flexible and willing to make changes as you go through. So if anyone has any questions about that, please definitely comment and subscribe as well. Comment below, subscribe. If you have any questions, definitely please reach out and let me know. And just make it happen 2019 and beyond. Let's make these goals and let's actually make it happen this year. All right.